Well, today it's Halloween here at Pulitzer Opal, so it's time for the first annual Guess Sheila's Halloween Costume Contest. If you want to enter, just put your guess in the comments, and the first one to guess correctly wins a special prize. Of course I'm not going to give them your opal arrowhead. Will you relax, Sheila? Okay, today I have a 50-carat chunk of black opal. And you may ask, why don't you have black opal all the time? And the answer is really simple. You see, I almost never have black opal to work with. I mean, I do love it, but it apparently doesn't love me because it rarely shows up here at Pulitzer Opal. Not for birthdays, New Year's Eve, or even Halloween. If you want to see black opal every video, then you need to watch Justin at Black Opal Direct. He does great work and makes a mean video. You see, Justin and I have an agreement. He takes care of most of the black opal, and I do everything else. Well, that didn't come out right. Justin does the black opal, and I do all of the other types of opal. I mean, it's sort of a gentleman's agreement, and at least one of us is actually a gentleman. This is a 50-carat piece of lightning ridge seam opal that was sent to me by renowned opal dealer Riley Gunn of 53 Frogs on Opal Auctions. I'm carefully grinding into this stone. The target is a very narrow band of black opal with some fiery red flash. But this is a large stone, and there's no way to know for sure what will be inside. Now, I've only removed a thin layer from the top, but the color is starting to show. Do you see the way the opal kind of forms what looks like a web? Well, the fingers of the web are actually seams of their own, and they may or may not ever come together. I'm gonna have to get a little bit deeper. As I'm cutting, more and more fingers of color are starting to appear on the surface. That's a good sign. With this piece of opal from Coober Pedy, I'm trying to grind it so that both sides are curved or convex. That will give me the lens shape that I'm looking for. And I think I can safely say that all of us are looking for a lens-shaped piece of opal, right? So the red color is all in this area, but it won't be acceptable until we can get through all of this sand. And there's our color bar hanging on. Now I have to grind very slowly because a slip of 1 millimeter could ruin the entire stone. Okay, I've gotten down a little deeper and I see two things. One, I see a lot more areas of color, but there's also a lot more areas of sand. And the sand, honestly, is a little bit depressing. it's hard to imagine that the opal is going to overtake the sand. I'm going to continue to grind down, and hopefully these clouds will clear away and the red will come shining through. Well, after a lot more grinding, the sand is still coming at us from all angles. I think that it's time to divide and conquer. These three areas all have great color and could produce great stones. The only question is, of course, what is the sand going to do? So let's go to the trim saw, cut this into 3 pieces, and work on each of them individually. This is about 60 carats of really nice meant-to-be opal, sent to me by Murray Willis, legendary opal dealer at Australian Opal Mines. About a month or 2 ago, I asked Murray to send me some chips for an upcoming video. Well, he sent me the chips, and he also sent me small pieces of rough meant-to-be opal that he wanted me to clean the sand off of, and then I could have the chips. I mean, what am I, some sort of opal mercenary? Well, I cleaned them up for him, and this is what came out of it. I noticed that one of them was perfect for making an opal doublet, and he said that I could have it if I told you guys that his cleaned up opals are for sale on his website. And no, I don't know the price. I don't want to know the price. Talk to Murray about that. An opal doublet is when you take a thin piece of transparent opal and attach it to a piece of dark stone as backing. Most people use ironstone or onyx for backing, but I use black Arkansas novaculite. Novaculite is related to flint and is used in the finest sharpening stones and also in some of the finest arrowheads. We take a thin piece of opal and the backing stone, we put the epoxy on the backing stone and put the thin opal onto it. Let's try that. Here's our thin slice of opal. I added epoxy to the backing stone and put the two together. With 5-minute epoxy, the opal is well attached in 5 minutes, but it really doesn't cure until about 10 to 15 hours later. So our doublet looks like it's coming along well. It's really glued nicely to that. What I have to do now is cut it out of here and then polish it and thin it out a little bit, since this novaculite is probably 1/4 inch thick. Then we'll be all set, except I'm running out of novaculite. Well, if you use the saw in unusual ways, you'll get unusual cuts, and it will take you longer to do the job. So I'm just telling you that. Now I'm shaping the stone with a 600 sintered wheel. It does the job pretty well, and I got about the shape that I want. That black stuff you see coming out is dye that I added to the epoxy. Now it's time to thin this thing out, so I attach my 100 grit anodized wheel. This coarse grit wheel will chew through stone like a wood chipper through, wood. We'll see the completed doublet a little bit later in the video. Back to our black opal. I'm cutting off the excess sand off of the edges. And now I've marked the lines to cut the stone into 3 pieces, each with the potential of producing a nice black opal. Here are our 3 pieces. The middle piece has a lot of color and has a lot of potential, but that sand is still a problem. The areas of color in the other 2 is small, and they may yield smaller stones. We'll soon find out.
You hungry too? Okay, Smokey, you can do it. Get up there. Get. Go on. Smokey.
And now for the final stones. At 3.23 carats, we have Sandy. Sandy has all the right colors for a good black opal, but she's not the picture of perfection that we anticipated. I can't blame her, though. That I reserve for her mother, who is mostly bark and not much bite. And next we have Slim, a somewhat colorful but young doublet. He is what we thought he would be, lively but not scintillating in the world of doublets. His resume says that he wants to travel, so leave a comment if you're looking for a permanent house guest. At 23.23 carats, give it up for Barb, a voluptuous but irascible young arrowhead. She's dignified, but don't cross her unless you want to live in the world of pain. Barb was recently listed by Who's Who as one of the top opal arrowheads in the world, and she's just itching to see that world for herself. So be on the lookout. Barb may show up at your doorstep. But Barb always travels light, and her chips won't be going with her. But they will be making their own trip in the quest to live with a human being. And now the winners from last time. Bo, the 17-carat opal, is going back to the guy who sent him to me several months ago. He didn't even know that I was using his opal in this video. The winner is Josh Bridges. The winner of the 3.69-carat opal named Ginger goes to Trish with the stars. The winner of the flakes from the arrowhead named Blinky goes to Otis J. And finally, the winner of the 13.4-carat opal arrowhead named Blinky goes to Gary Russell. Now, I know you've all been waiting for this. Everybody wants to hear what Halloween costume that Sheila is wearing. I hope you made your guess, because here it is. Sheila came to Halloween as a fire hydrant, a red fire hydrant. Now, I know most of you probably got this one, but did you guess that it was red? Well, the black opal was somewhat of a disappointment, but even promising-looking opals sometimes don't make the grade. If you need opal, and I know that you all do, head over to Riley Gun Store, 53 Frogs on Opal Auctions. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas at Pulitzer Opal. I will see you next time.